Hi, I'm Sully Erna from Godsmack. Well, it was really great to get back together with the guys for one. You know, it definitely was a big question mark for a while because, as everyone knows, we took a fairly decent-sized break. But it was, you know, a break that we felt was well-deserved and needed, more importantly, because we were just burnt out. And there was a point where we thought maybe we weren't even going to be together anymore. You know, there was definitely some thoughts of just kind of going our own ways. There was really no bad blood or anything like that, but you know, when you spend so much time on the road and you're exhausted, it can play tricks on you and you really start to think, well, maybe, you know, maybe this is, you know, I've done enough and I'm getting older now and you're tired and you know, all the touring, extensive touring and things like that, and it just kind of gets to you and it plays tricks on your mind. But looking back in hindsight, we just needed a break. That's what it was. And after a long break, we started to talk again and discussed getting back together to write and just see how it felt. But for me, you know, after doing a solo record and having some success with that, the bands were doing some side projects, there was definitely a concern about whether or not this was going to work, whether or not we wanted to go back into this intensive kind of work. And when you're away from it that long, you know, the creative instrument closes eternally. And it took a minute for me especially to get that vessel to open up again and the artistic side to come out. But you know, after we got together and started to put some songs on the table and write some music, it was pretty obvious that, you know, the band had something special that you know, we're proud of and we felt deserved, you know, attention and you know, all in all, we know now that we have something really, really special that we don't want to just make obsolete, you know. Yeah, you know, we all got into our Godsmack headquarters and we decided to record the record there. And you know, I came in with a handful of songs, they came in with a handful of songs, and we started to carve up everything and see where this was going to go and what songs were worth working on and what songs were just kind of getting tossed to the side. And when we finished all that, you know, we started to look at what we thought was going to be an album. But I still wasn't quite there, you know, like I liked what I was hearing, but it just felt very stock. It felt very like, okay, you know, it's cool, it's new Godsmack, but it's kind of been there, done that. But it wasn't until the end when we just decided like, hey, let's write as a band. We haven't done that yet. You know, we've been together, we've been working for months now on all these songs that we brought in, but we have yet to have something that the band worked on together. And as a joke, I was kidding around and said, hey, let's write a song. And Tony said, well, TC just went to go get our dinner, we're gonna take a break. And I said, well, I'm gonna write a song then before he gets back with food. And jokingly, Tony said, well, you better be a really fast riff because he'll be back in 15 minutes. And so again, kidding around, I started playing the guitar really fast, just joking. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hold on a second here. I started feeling like the movement and the melody choices and things just started snowballing very quickly. And I think within 90 minutes, the whole song was written. It was very fast. It was as if the song needed to write itself. And as I started to think about, you know, the chorus and where I was going, and I had this idea of calling the song 100,000 horsepower, because it felt like that kind of a song. It was just a real big engine that started up and just took off and it didn't stop until it was over. And when I thought about the concept of a big, powerful engine like that, it started to remind me of the energy of the band. It started to remind me of the adrenaline and the power that, you know, Godsmack has always kind of possessed. Which got me thinking about the history of the band and the mountain we did climb and the things that we still do and continue to sacrifice to be a band. And that made me reflect on the whole beginning days, which gave me the theme to the song, which really became the theme of the whole album, which is about, let's bring it back to the streets of Boston. Let's go back and do what we love to do, which is write music for us. And that's kind of what got us to where we are in the first place. So, you know, with that theory, we just kind of honed in on that and started carving the record up to be a bit more about, you know, taking it back old school. I think, you know, probably the most special part about making this album was just, again, coming to that place where getting together with the guys and seeing the love that's within the band still. I mean, it's probably our biggest feat so far. It's really one of those things that you're the most proud of, is, you know, getting back in a room with three other guys that there's a certain respect level there. And it seems to get a little bit easier as we get older now, working on albums together, because I think we've lived through some of the most challenging times, and now we're getting to a place where the attention span is very focused on giving each other the room and the creative room and the respect of, you know, knowing that this album is going to be worked on and treated best for the music. And that's what we started the band as, was like we always said we're going to write for the music, not for ourselves individually. I mean, it's not about egos and individuality anymore. It's really about what's best for the music. And since we all come from a similar background in rock, it's a lot easier to attend to that kind of thing and you know, and honor that style that we feel we've built our career off of. No, you know, the new Godsmack record, it's funny. Every time we put out an album, we seem to pull and draw from some kind of inspiration, some kind of influence from our childhood, and songs that we personally like. And so one record becomes, you know, a little bit more metal sounding, some record becomes a little bit of a blues edge to it, like on the 4 album. And on this record, it seems to have a little bit of a punk influence at times, which was kind of cool, you know, and I think that reflects on songs like 1,000 Horsepower, where it's a little bit more up-tempo and fast, and a little bit more Jim Carroll in the verses. But, you know, there's also some really quintessential Godsmack on the record, and then there's some other stuff that, you know, has a little bit of the colors and textures from Avalon, which is like a song Something Different. It's a big, powerful, straight-up rock song. Big, great, hooky chorus, really powerful, you know, hard song. But it has these dips and lulls where, like, there's a cello playing at times and stuff like that. And so it's kind of cool, you know, to just draw from different places and take some chances, because I really feel that sometimes you have to step outside of your comfort zone to be able to create something brilliant. And whether we did or not is yet to be seen, but I know you can't find those moments unless you take some chances. Oh, for sure, it's always more work. I've never not self-produced a record. I mean, since day one, I've always had my hands all over everything, from writing the music to mixing the record with, you know, this time we used Dave Fortman again, who we used on the last album. But I'm right there for the mixes, for the producing, for the writing, the arrangements, building the stages, designing the light shows, like editing the videos, coming up with the video treatments. It's just constant work, but how can you not be involved in it when it's your art? You know, if you're a painter, you're going to know if you want to choose green or gray or purple or blue for your painting. And for me, it's the same thing. You know, when I'm creating my painting, I have a certain vision in my head, and the tricky part is to try to get it to translate through the speakers. You know, looking back on things, the band definitely went through a pretty long journey so far. You know, I mean, we're in a very blessed situation to have done this for well over a decade. I mean, geez, next year we're coming up on 20-year anniversary of the band being together. You know, 16 years making records. It's a long enough haul that you question, you know, whether or not you're going to continue to do this. But it's something that most bands break up over. You know, you get to those really hard, struggling points, and you face these challenges and obstacles, and you mix that with drinking and hangovers and stuff like that, and it can really create a lot of problems, especially on the road when people are missing their family and friends. And it's a very easy thing to just bail on it and give up. It's much harder to do to continue to work on things and find out what your imperfections are, find out where the egos are at, find out where the selfishness is at, and put all that stuff to the side to service not only your fans, your core audience, but to do what's right for you, to do what's right for the art, to do what's right for the band, and the career. And we knew that the right thing to do was to continue. I don't think it's possible back then to imagine, you know, the success that the band has had now. You do dream about it, you know, and you fantasize for sure. Because at that point, you're starting to really feel the energy of what it's like to live as a musician, to be doing this for a job now. One of my most, you know, rewarding moments, I should say, in my life was to be able to quit my job, you know, and just know that I'm going to go on the road now, and this is how I'm going to make my living. But you still, you know, it's a very slow process, and you can look back now and think, wow, you know, 16 years have gone by since we started making records. But it doesn't move as quickly when you're in it. It's only later that you reflect back on it that you see, you know, how fast time is flying by. So you can't really imagine what levels you can go to. You can only do as best as you can. But it sure is nice being, you know, in a position now where we can tour when we want and play the kind of shows that we want to put together.